And here we go. Welcome to Whiskey Friday. I am live from the All Island Economic Summit we have at Cobble Hill up Island in Vancouver Island. Today I'm drinking some Connemara. What are you guys drinking?
That was muted.
Right here. We got lots of passing around. Here we go. Passing around. Some whiskey. And what we do with Whiskey Friday, this is the intro here. Typically what we do with Whiskey Friday is we've been doing it at Mount Curtis time with the group and have some fun. So what we want to talk about today at this economic summit, we're talking about collaborative selling. Does anybody want to make some more money in the business? Anybody? Is that it? Does anybody want to make some money in the business? Okay, cool. What I thought I'd do is I'd share with you a story, sort of some of the things that have happened in my business in the whole idea of like getting out of this scarcity mentality. Everybody heard of the scarcity mentality? Right, and the scarcity mentality. When I first had my job, and I've only really just left my job within about like a year or so ago. And when I was in my job, I started to look for other options, ways to grow and start a business. This is cool. I like that I'm up there, and there's Paul's head. I like that. But when I wanted to do that, and so I get a lot of clients that are startup entrepreneurs, and they're getting into this mode. And I think Paul mentioned it when he was speaking. Anybody had that feeling where it's like maybe I should just get a job? Right? When you start your business. Because it's freaky. And so I started to write this stupid little blog and writing things because I wanted to share some of the ideas that I had in my business, things that other people were challenged with. And so I started writing blogs. I started creating videos. And at one point, I'm going to do this as well. Boop. And boop. And at one point, I wrote some stuff. And Gabe mentioned earlier, I know a lot about spin selling, this book from the 80s. And I did this stupid video that I put on YouTube where I did. Oh, okay. So I did this as a new kind of business owner. Everybody feel like that? They're just going to try out the market in Victoria. Hopefully, they like it. Maybe I'll go to My business is real yet, so I'm going to just buy some cheap things. This is the story I'm showing these guys that do a whole service. Hey, what's up? So we would buy this software, and I don't know, it's going to work, but that's fine. But we would get this software. Oh, hey, what's up, man? So you do that? Hey, yeah. Yeah. So we get this software, and then we spend all of our time trying to make these cheap softwares talk to each other, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? You invest in some crappy stuff and make that. So as we grow our business, we start to look for tools that enhance our ability to do our jobs. And so we start to look at the full suite automation. We start to look at the full things. We start to hire people because we realize we can't just do it ourselves, right? Does that all make sense what I'm saying? Right? And so that's kind of what I want you guys to think about is as we grow our businesses, as we start to look for these things, don't just look for tools and the technology that are going to enable you to do these things. Look for the people that you can collaborate with. Look for these tribes. Look for these people that you can network with that can help you enhance your business. Are we cool with that so far? Right? So what I thought I'd do as I dance around Curtis here and look at all this stuff is I want to share with you guys. You guys want to learn some of the sort of the sales philosophy, some of the stuff that we're working on? Yeah? Okay. So the first thing I want to ask you, how many of you would agree that we give money way too much power? Everybody agree? Like it just like in our head, we're like, man, it consumes us. But if we think about money and what it represents, back in the beginning of time, if Phil and I, you know, when what we were saying with Og, what was you saying, Paul? Og, when he's there, when Og he had a canoe, and then I had some furs, or Phil and I had a canoe and furs. I said, let's just trade. We would trade. And if I said, that's not a good deal, how about 2 furs for a canoe? That's a deal, right? That's a direct exchange. Then somebody said, well, what if we don't have the same things to trade back and forth? Well, we need something that represents those things. So we invented currency. And currency is the thing that people have been fighting over for decades and decades and decades. But if we think about what money really is, money just represents an indirect exchange of value. Okay. And some of you guys may have large clients and small clients and at the same time, but does everybody look at money the same way? No. And so what we want to think about is not what the money represents in our own wallets, but what money represents as a possibility for our clients. And if we're going to shift the mindset of what we're doing in our business on the island, we say, screw what it costs and start to think about the value we create. We want to be creationists, not people that save money. The big failing I see with companies that I've seen as we start to grow and scale and do new things is that they start to grow, they get all this business, right? It starts to happen. They're like, this is exciting. And so what do? They hire CFOs, they hire bookkeepers. And what do they tell them to do? Cut costs. So we start making decisions based on fear. We start to try and save money. We start to try and make those margins make more sense. We try and, grow in these areas. But what we should be doing is going and creating more. We should make our money work for us. Would you guys agree with that? Right? And so when we think about money, I'll tell you a couple studies that we did. Maybe we'll just shut it down. I don't know. But I don't know. I just got Curtis is frozen, and then I've got Paul looking like this on the screen. It looks great. But if we think about money, there's a great book called Thinking Fast and Slow by a guy named Daniel Kahneman. Anybody read that? Yeah, me and my pal Gina. What's up, Gina? But it's one of the things we talk about is in that book is called money priming. Anybody heard of priming? I think we talked a little bit. Paul's talking about it. Priming is basically anything that's happened to you before you're in the moment now that sort of indirectly or directly affects how you think, feel, or behave. And so the idea on money priming is simply this: is they put people into these groups just like this, and they would, before they went into a room like this, they would introduce them to ideas of cash flow and money, or they'd watch a screensaver with like cash on it, and then they put them in an activity. They put them down at tables like this where they'd fill out some surveys or something, and then somebody would come around and accidentally drop some pencils. Right? The people that were primed with money would pick up about half as many pencils as the ones that weren't. That's the first one. The second one is they would put them in these groups. They'd say, hey, you're going to go into this room and you're going to go set up and you're going to have a conversation with somebody. So you're going to take 2 of these chairs and just take them in that room and set them up. And the people that were primed with money would put those chairs on average 118 centimeters apart, and the ones that weren't would be 80 centimeters apart. So what does that tell us? Is that when we're thinking about money and what we want from other people, we're 1, less likely to help, and 2, we create these subconscious barriers. Do you guys agree? Right? And that's what I call sales breath, right? We know when people are selling to us. Sales breath. You know when somebody's trying to sell to you, right? Last year, the most amazing thing happened to us. My girlfriend texted me in the morning and said, hey, guess what? Car's been stolen. I said, you know, I don't know how to tell the story, but basically I was like, you always lose your phone, so let's double check if the car has been stolen. And sure enough, yes, the car was stolen, and it was awesome. Why was it awesome?
Get a new car.
Yeah, come on down, right? You're the next kid. We get to buy a new car. Went to insurance, got a new car, and we were all excited to go and buy a new car. And then who ruined it for us? Everybody knows that, right? The salesperson ruined it. They started to come in and talk features and benefits and blah, 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 and started to ruin the experience for us because we were ready to buy. We were the best buyer. We were ready. We have the money. We want it. We need it. The car is gone, so we need one, right? And so the salespeople ruined it for us. And so I think about that, and I think, you know, how often in our businesses when we go and sell, do we all of a sudden turn into that person? Do you ever feel like sometimes when you're trying to sell and promote your product, you become somebody you're not? You ever feel like that, right? And so I've been working on, I do thousands of sales calls a year with teams that I coach, and I listen to them. It's almost like an obsession that I have where it's weird. And I listen to them while I'm driving, and we break them down. I listen for not what they say, but more importantly, that subtle interplay between two humans talking. Okay. And so what I found is that there's this difference between how we talk normally as people and then who we become. And I think I mentioned it earlier. What's it called, Cody? What's it called when people are different? Being a salesy weirdo, right? Being a salesy weirdo. We just turn into this weird person and we start to say things. There's two kinds. There's that one that's overly formal, where we're like, hi, I just wanted to talk to you about these things. We go through our list of stupid things that we think we're smart and we think it's going to help them buy. The other one is that overly formal sales weirdo where we go, hi, how are you today? Right? And those kind of weirdos. So we turn into this new person. And so what the goal is really about being more authentic. You want to let's just shut it down. Is it working? Is it on there? It's just, all right. So everybody's watching. Okay. So, hey guys, we're being weird here. So it's Joji. We're being weird. So the opposite is, like we mentioned earlier, is being faster and being authentic. Right? Being much more connected and honestly giving a shit about your customers, giving a shit about the people in your network and saying, what are we really trying to do? And so when I look at people, how they're running their business, everybody talks about what they do, as we mentioned earlier, and they talk about their product, their features and benefits, their offer. But what do your customers really care about? Somebody said, what is it? They care about one thing. They care about their own problems. Right? So before you create an offer, before you go to market, before you try and sell them anything, you better know what their problems are. And so and I'm going to show you guys here today, there's about 8 or 9 different ways that you can collaborate in your marketplace to solve problems in your network, to go and actually look at those undesirable effects of your customer's business and say, how do we actually create more value for them? Because I think the whole idea of the island is slower business, that it's just different here, there's no money here, all of these things that we heard that we've been hearing throughout the day, I think is BS, right? Because the only way that sales works is if we can create a shift in thinking. If we create a demand, anybody that's good at selling creates demand. Do you guys agree? Right? Sales is not just saying, here's what I have, and we just put it in front of people and say, what do you think? And they go, sounds great, and they buy it. How often does that happen? Not very often, right? And there's this thing I hear when I listen to people speak and when I listen to them sell. It's called the deep breath and pitch. And I hear it all the time at networking events where we're just like, it's like, remember that skipping rope game, Double Dutch, where people are just waiting for their turn to jump in. And so they go, so tell me what you do. And they go, blah, blah, blah. And they just say all the stuff. And that's what it feels like. So that feels salesy. And so if you think about how the brain works, I know Paul talked a little bit about the reptilian system, the limbic system. We talked about the neocortex and how that all works. The way our brains work is if it's not dangerous, our reptilian brain ignores it. Okay? If it's not new and exciting, our reptilian brain ignores it. But if it is new and exciting, the limbic system kicks in and goes, hey, that's interesting. There's an associative context to that. That feels neat, comparing to my tribe. And I see how this affects my pain. And then it says, hey, neocortex, pay attention to this. We need to figure out if we want to buy this, right? But if we continue to think that people have brains like computers, then we take all of this information and we give it to the other person thinking that their brain is just going to simply process it. But is that what happens? No. So anything that you're doing in your marketplace has to be disruptive. Not like a completely disruptive technology, but you have to disrupt, you have to cut through the noise of your customers and what they're thinking, okay? You guys all with me here? Okay. One of the things I think Paul mentioned just now is the whole idea of being exporters. How many of you guys have businesses that absolutely require you to be bricks and mortar here on the island? Few of you, right? But in the hotel business, can you bring other people in? Yeah. Absolutely. And you can bring other people in, right? Every business that we have means that we can create opportunity for the island. For me, I'm an exporter of knowledge, right? My services go around and I do a lot of webinars, I do conferences, I travel around, and I'm good for the economy. And all you guys are good for the economy, right? Because we're not bricks and mortar. Even when you are bricks and mortar, you can bring people in. One of the things we talked about is making this place a destination. I have people that bring me to these events, and they just took me to Niagara Falls. I went to this like hotel. It wasn't even that great. And I thought, wouldn't it be awesome to convince them to come here, right? I think the conference that we were at was probably $250,000. Wouldn't that be fun? To bring all those 40, 50 people to Victoria, set them up in a hotel, right? Get all these services, get people on board to say, how do we solve this problem for them? Because our city is more kick-ass than going to Niagara Falls. Would you guys agree? No offense if anybody's in Niagara Falls. I love it. It's great. But I've been there already. I did the Maid of the Mist. I get it. But coming to Victoria, you know, coming into the harbor, we've got this yes space, we've got all these things happening. And I think it's cool to start thinking creatively about how to use our network and how to use this stuff and getting away from, well, how much does it cost? Because one of my favorite conversations, especially locally, is when somebody says, how much do you cost? And I tell them, they're like, holy cow, that's like 5-10 times more than what I would pay for. So that what other people charge. I'm like, well, are you working with those people? Well, not really, right? Are you getting the results? Not really. Because money is, how many of you guys have a product or service that either helps people make money or save money? Hey, it's easy, right? So all we have to do is figure out what's the ROI. How do we quantify that? How do we help improve somebody's position? And the two questions I always ask people when we're trying to figure out if it works is, do you feel like you can succeed here? Like this makes sense? Do you feel that there's a need and you can succeed through something like this? Not whether you buy from me, but do you feel that? And they say, yeah. And do you feel I'm the right person to help you get there? Yeah. Then go find the money, right? And if you guys aren't standing behind your price, there's two words that kill me inside. And then I have a slide in one of my shows where there's like a little puppy that's really, really sad. And I want you to picture, close your eyes if you can't see it. There's a puppy and he's really sad. And there's two words that make me die inside. And it's discounting and chasing, right? When we start discounting our fees, what happens? We devalue everything we're doing, right? We start chasing people. What does that say? We're desperate. So what we want to do is we want to stand by our fees and say, this has value, right? We want to come to the party with value first. I'm going to talk a little bit about sales and how that works. And we also want to say, I'm not going to chase you, you chase me, right? We want to say, we're doing something really cool. You have to earn the right to be a partner with me, and we're going to solve these problems together. You're going to get something, and I'm going to get some money to help you get that thing. Does that make sense? Okay. Whiskey break. Cheers. So, what do we got? Turn it up, turn it down. Turn me up, turn me down. Yeah. I think that's, no, we're flashing. You want me off?
Yeah.
Am I done?
That one's good.
Oh, okay. Good looking as Curtis, right? It's done. It's off. It's off. What's that? Yeah, get back. You're good. We're good. All right. So I want to talk to you guys. We alluded to it a little bit earlier about the sales history, and what I want to do is I'm going to give you probably about 10 more minutes of sort of this me ranting about stuff, and then I want to go and actually take some. We want to apply this. I'm going to show you some ways to apply this sales history. The funny thing is back in 1925. Anybody heard of a guy named E.K. Strong? Anybody? Nobody? You heard because you saw one of my things, right? But E.K. Strong, he wrote The Theories of Selling. It was in the Applied Journal of something, Psychology. And it was the first published works on selling. And that was the first sort of foray into actually making sales a real profession, where they started to look at processes and being able to repeat things. And over the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, they started to learn how people thought. They created all of these things where they helped manipulate people into making decisions. And then in the 70s, they invented this thing called the professional buyer. Why did they invent the buyer? Anybody? What's that?
Needed somebody to buy everything.
That's it, to stop salespeople. They invented the purchasing department because people were getting just totally manipulated. And so they created this, that was the first divide. And you guys can feel that divide still today, right? Between buyers and sellers, What are you up to? We get into this like we're trying to battle people, right? And I think somebody mentioned earlier, our goal is not to be me versus you. It's supposed to be me and you versus the problem. And that's what we want to try and get to. But the purchasing department and the professional buyer was the first time where people started to go, uh-oh, we don't like these salespeople. And they're mean and they're going to try and trick us. And so there's stories of buyers that they would go to sales training conferences and learn all of the closing techniques that the salespeople learned. And then they would go into this meeting and the salesperson would try a closing technique and they'd pull out their flashcard and say, that was an assumptive close. You have one more chance. And so then it was this constant battle between buyers and sellers. And so then as we went into more complex sales through the 80s, we mentioned earlier spin selling by a guy named Neil Rackham. And they did studies on like 35,000 sales calls, hundreds of sales reps all over the world. And they realized that the way that we were selling has changed. How many of you guys have sales that take more than one meeting? Right? The complex sales environment where people are making decisions on their purchase in between the intervals of them meeting with you. So it's not about being able to manipulate them in the moment. It's about getting them to see the value over the course of your business with them. And so he found that people ask these questions. That's why it's called SPIN. It's called situation, problem, implication, and need payoff. Right? And what they found is that the people that were highly transactional, that were struggling in complex sales, asked a lot of situation and problem questions. And those ones go like this. Tell me about what's going on. Well, how many leads do you have? Well, what's your conversion on those? And we would just constantly just ask and interrogate. And the problem questions would be like, now, why is that a problem? And what's that problem? And what's that problem? What's that problem? The implication questions, the ones that were succeeding, asked that one, which was, now what's happening because of that? Who else is affected because of that? Right? Well, now, when this happens, what else is going on? And the need payoff questions were, if this works, how does that affect your business? What's possible? And they found that people that ask those better questions, I think Gabe was talking, questions are the lifeblood of selling, is we have to ask those questions to find out what's really going on in their business. Now, some of you guys know my girlfriend, and she has this tendency to give me these articles on how to be a better listener. Because to help me with my business, right? So Paul was talking about the Love Lab at University of Washington, and there was this article that we read, probably the same article, where they talked about in healthy relationships, happy relationships, what made them succeed, and people give out these things called bids in their relationships, where there's these little outreaches to say, hey, check this thing out. Hey, have you seen this, the latest thing? Have you seen the news? Did you hear that song? All these things where we just reach out for a little bit of a connection. And the partners that responded to their partners' bids, the ones that succeeded responded about 80%. The marriages that failed were probably somewhere around 20 to 30%. Does that make sense? Right? So one of the stories that they told was there was a man and a woman. This is perfect. We're looking out over the balcony. Looking out over the balcony here. And the woman says, look at how beautiful those trees are. What's a typical response for a guy? I spoke at the West Shore Women in Business. That was a real easy answer for them. It was, right? And what trees? Okay? And the funny thing about that is I think communication, everything we're doing when we're selling, when we're trying to build our business, is always about two humans talking, right? And with communication, it's a magical thing where if I have this idea, right now I have these ideas that are coming really fast, and then I go, I want you to have that idea in your mind. So I change my mouth and my lips and my tongue, and I vibrate the air magically at Phil and at you guys, and his brain goes, hey, I know what that's, and it vibrates the hammer, anvil, it stirrups, and it creates an audio impulse that goes to his brain, and now I've transported this thought into his mind and out to your minds. How crazy is that? That's crazy, right? That we can do that. And what happens when somebody goes, what does it do to the conversation? It kills it, right? So one of the best things you can do when you're talking to people, when you're selling, is ask questions. If somebody says, hey, look at how beautiful those trees are, what do you say? Pretty much, yeah. What about those trees do you find beautiful? Paul, yeah?
How much firewood could you get?
Come on, man. Come on. Well, that's the typical guy answer. I can solve that problem, right? Don't rush to solve, Paul. Right, ladies? Don't solve my problems. Talk about the thing I'm talking about. But that's the same thing we do in business. That's the same thing we do in sales. When somebody tells you, I want you guys to think about this. The next conversation you have with people about your business, and they say, hey, I'm worried about this. These things are changing. Or I'm excited about this, or I'm doing research on this. All you have to do is stop and say, hey, what about that are you excited about? What about that is changing in your business? What about that makes you nervous? What are you finding in your research? Does that make sense? Right? Those are the bids. Those are the nuggets that people are throwing at you day in and day out. But we're waiting for our turn to be like, doesn't matter. I can solve that. So we got to hold back on solving these things. Okay. So that was spin selling. And then now moving towards the 2011, 2012 Challenger sale. Anybody read Challenger sale? No? Insight selling? Pitch anything. These are really, really cool books. But the new market of sales is all about how do we bring value first. The days of being able to say, hey, let's have a bunch of coffees and just get to know each other are kind of gone. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Right? It's annoying. Okay. We have to say, what do we bring to the table first? What kind of problems do we solve? What kind of insights and value do we bring ahead of asking for the conversation so that we can say, we're going to earn the relationship as a byproduct of us doing some really cool stuff for our clients, for us doing some really cool stuff in the industry. And one of the things I do want to thank anybody that's been speaking today, this kind of a workshop, this is easily $10,000 to $20,000 kind of a workshop that you guys are at, and they've come and brought lots of value. Paul and Gabe and Clements, right? This is huge, huge value. They're coming to be able to say, hey, I'm going to give this value first. If you become a client of mine, that's great. But I'm doing this because I want to give value to my community, right? This is what you guys are doing. So we got to thank these guys for everything they're doing. So in your business, content is everything, right? Being able to add value first, being able to solve problems, being able to add something to your community. Are we doing that? Are we going out and creating something before we're asking for anything? I know anybody heard Gary Vaynerchuk, right? He's got the jab, jab, jab hook, which is like give people stuff before you ask for anything, okay? So that's where we're at in the business. And I'll get you guys to write these numbers down real quick. Write down and just write them down the side. 3, 7, 30, 30, 30. Hey, Curtis. What's up, buddy? It's good to see you, man. 3, 7, 30, 30, 30. And think about this in your business. And I've read these numbers in a bunch of different books. I don't know how 100% true they are, but I've been testing them with all my clients, and everybody seems to agree, yeah, these make sense, okay? 3% of your market, if I put you in a stadium full of 1,000 people, 3% of those people would be actively looking to buy the thing you have, okay? So active is the first word. And I'll put it this way. If you want to draw something and you're shopping and you say, I'm looking for pens, I'm looking for the best pen and the best price for the pen. What do you got? Show me your pens, okay? The next one, the 7, is open, right? These are the people that are saying, I'm going to draw something. I'm thinking pens, pencils, not sure. What do you got in your catalog of things that write down stuff? Okay. The third one, the 30, 3, 7, 30. The first 30 is aware, but for a future need. So they're saying, hey, I'm thinking of drawing something. I'd like to figure out what you guys have. Can you send me some information? Anybody heard that before? Send me some information and I'll think about it. We go, but hold on. I want to tell you all this stuff, great stuff right now. Right? And so they say, send me the information because I'm thinking about drawing stuff. The fourth 30, I'm trying to say, fourth 30 is unaware. They're unaware they have a problem. They're unaware that there's a solution to that problem. They're unaware that you even exist, right? They don't even know that if they just learned how to draw or got the tools to draw, how awesome they could be, how much fun drawing is, right? And the last 30, really easy, it's just no, okay? It's just no, they don't want your stuff. But what ends up happening is we go into the marketplace talking to the 3 to 10% at the top. We're waiting for those leads to come in. We're waiting for people to say, hey, I want the thing that you have. I want to see your program information. And then we end up competing on price. Gabe used the stat earlier, which 57% of the market are already, they're 57% of the way through the buying process before they engage with the supplier. Why is that? Interwebs, as you were talking, right? The internets. People are going and doing their research. So they're calling you and saying, hey, I've been doing my research. Give me your best price. And then we start chasing and chasing and chasing people, right? But if we go out, we create need in the marketplace by understanding there's a need out there. People have pain and we have conversations around that. People start to go, remember that CNC Music Factory, things that make you go, Remember that song, right? That's what we want to try and create in our conversations, that people go, I wasn't aware. And that's how you drive your fees up. That's how you create more value. That's how you create need in your marketplace. Is everybody cool with this? All right, cool. So we talked about that. We talked about that. Now I want to go into how we're going to create strategic alliances, right? We talked about the destination. I've got 9 ways that you guys can create these alliances in your network. You guys ready for this? Got about half an hour. I'm going to try and do this in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then I want you guys to break into these groups. Remember we talked earlier about networking. You guys been networking all day, I hope, not just drinking, right, like me. So the first one is, and these are all ways that you can work with people. The first one is you can start a new venture, right? You can partner with people. You can say, hey, let's build something together. We're going to take the risk together. We're either 50-50, 30-20, 30-70, 60, whatever it is, but we're taking the risk. We're creating a new brand, and we're going to go and build something. Make sense? Okay. The second one I've got here is you could be a project partner. I've done lots of these where we say, hey, we're going to take our brands and we're going to create something new together. It doesn't mean it's a new business, but it means a project that we're going to do. Okay. So we're going to be maybe equal partners or offset, whatever it is. We maintain our same brands. We put both logos on the project. Sound cool? Right? I do lots of those. I've done that with Gabe, and I've done a couple projects like that. I've got a friend of mine, Andy Murphy, out of Florida, and then also Domenico. You guys know we've done lots of projects like that where we just share the resources and share the risk and share the blame, all that stuff, right? So you can be project partner. The third one, this is kind of a fun one. And I'm not sure what we call this, but it's a partner within. It's almost like a pseudo employee. It sort of masks the fact that you're both solopreneurs. So for me, my company's called Change, Grow, Achieve, and I have employees that work for me. But Gabe and I are looking at, hey, if I go into the marketplace and we both do sales consulting, but we come at it from completely different lenses, if I see that he and I can partner on a project and I go and find the client, then he's basically Gabriel at Change, Grow, Achieve. Does that make sense? And now I say, hey, my team can do all this cool shit. And if he goes and finds the client, I'm Joe at 30,000feet.ca. He says, I got a coach. He's on my team, and we're doing cool stuff. Okay? So I call that the sort of the pseudo employee, and it allows you to start to scale really quickly. It allows you to keep your business, keep all your brand, and be able to say, I'm going to take on these partners. I have a client/partner that we do a lot of work in the education space, and I'm happy to just represent them. All of the clients know I have my own business, and I do maybe 1 to 2 days a month under their brand, helping them solve their client problems, and I'm happy to be under their umbrella. Does that make sense? Right? That's a really, really fun way to do that. So if you have other people in your market that you say, hey, let's go look at how, these problems that we're solving. So rather than me selling to you and you selling to him, and we're just trying to sell to everybody, we say, hey, let's look at the market, sell together. Whoever gets that client will work under each other's brands and go and solve bigger and badder problems. Okay. The fourth one is a fun one. It's called a channel partner. Anybody heard of channel partner agreements, right? Cool. So channel partners are basically, it's almost like an exclusive agreement. It doesn't have to be exclusive, but where you're saying, I'm going to add this as part of my sales process, where I have people that I trust, that I've worked with, that when we get to this part in your business, I think you should work with them. This is my preferred partner. And you can even list them on your website to say preferred partners in my network. So look at your whole supply chain and how you guys all solve problems within that supply chain and say, who are my preferred partners in this network? So again, you can take on bigger projects. That makes sense? Okay. Anybody want me to slow down? Okay, just keep going. Cool. The next one, who's heard of referrals? Okay, cool. Now, how many people just run around giving a bunch of referrals to you? Ish, right? Never doesn't happen that much. Just Phil all the time. Hey, got a referral. Just Phil always does it. So we just wait for Phil to call, right? So, and while I'm on that, just because I like giving claps, Phil. Where's his whiskey? Why don't you have a whiskey? Okay, keep going. Referrals are a funny business, right? When we do a whole bunch of stuff on sort of how we sell in stages and the value exchange, when we're asking for, I always do this thing, when we want people to take action on something, we always have something we want from them, and then we have to give them something. When we ask for referrals, what are we asking for? Trust. Yeah. We're asking for trust. We're asking for somebody not only to trust us, but to transfer that trust to somebody else, to leverage the crap out of their social capital, and they get to ruin a reputation by saying, hey, I trust this person, so you should trust this person, right? How many times does that happen when you're wrong? One time, right? And not only does it ruin the relationship for them, it ruins the relationship for you, and now you've got this triangle of people that don't really trust each other, right? And so one of the things I remember learning back when I was selling in the education space is we would get referrals. Students would say, hey, my friend, you should come see Joe. He's going to help you. And then we would take for granted, because it was a referral, they're already pre-sold. Are referrals pre-sold? No. And in fact, you have to do an even better job with that referral that you get. An even better job because you have to give them the show that their friend promised you. Because we would take shortcuts and say, oh, well, I'm assuming that you want to do this, so here's what we do. And then you become that salesy weirdo and try and move them into a sale. And they're like, this isn't what I expected. So you have to do an even better job with referrals. So ways that you could do is enable those referrals. One of the ways we do often is I say, let's have more three-ways. You all right? Nobody? Okay. The three-way email. The three-way email. As you guys meet people today and you're talking about things, I have an email template that I love, and it just says introductions, exclamation, exclamation, right? And usually a name and another name on the subject line because all those introductions then gets married into your, anyways. So introductions, and it just says, hey, cool person, I just met this cool person. They're doing all of this cool stuff, and I think you guys should meet because of this. Now here's what's going on in their business. You guys talk. I'm stepping out of it. I just think you should meet. I don't know if you're going to do business together, but just connect with each other, right? Phil does it all the time. I know we're in the process actively in our network trying to do more and more of that. So if you guys want introductions, you just have to ask. We don't want to I know Clemens mentioned it to me before. We don't necessarily ask for referrals. We just ask for introductions. There's no assumption we're going to do business. Just ask for an intro. And be actively doing that. And instead of thinking, how do I get more business? Everybody you talk to, start think, who can I connect them with, right? If you're a connector of other people, you will drive so much credibility and so much social capital in your network. People, based on the principle of reciprocity, just want to give you referrals. Do you guys agree? Yeah. Right? That's why I try and give people referrals all the time because they're always trying to help me. And that's really, really huge. And then, I mean, you could take it further. People always ask about referral fees. It's a mixed bag. I know Gabe and I, there's a lot of people I've done referral fees with. It's just sometimes it's just nice to do that as a kickback because it's more of a structured referral, but we don't have to, right? I think if we build referrals and we build that goodwill, it just goes without saying. Would you guys agree, right? Cool. Yes.
We had a question from one of the clients here, Chris. He says, what are the benefits of getting referrals?
What are the benefits of getting referrals? It doesn't cost you anything, Chris. The benefits of getting referrals is there's a couple things. One is that when you get a referral, I think it's basically an indicator that you're doing something right? If somebody says, hey, I trust you and I trust that person, I'm going to refer somebody to you, that means that whatever you did with them, that you're doing something right in your business. The other thing is that it definitely drops your marketing costs down and you can build an active referral campaign. One of the things you can do is you can enable people to refer you much easier by using introductions and also saying, hey, if you know anybody that'd be interested in this same sort of this, like if you, for me, I think, who was it? Gabe said the Neil Rackham quote, which I love, which is, I'm pulling it up because I love this quote, is your sales call so valuable, your client would write a check for your visit. You guys remember him saying that? This is something I believe in, right? When I talk to people, let's get on the phone, let's talk about your business. We'll do an insight session. I'm going to talk to you about best practices. I'm going to talk to you about things we're seeing in the industry, some insights you can have that you can apply to your business right now. And whether you do business with me or not, you're going to be able to go and take this stuff and do something with it, right? I give content away free all the time because it's not the content that matters. It's what you do with it, how you implement it. Would you guys say that's true, right? So with referrals, it's the same thing. If you go and help somebody even in an initial sales call and they're like, wow, you really helped me, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do business with you, that's fine. It's like offering somebody a piece of gum and they say, no, thanks. You don't take offense. You say, no problem, right? But then you say, hey, do you know anybody that would benefit from a conversation like this? They say, kind of. And you say, why don't I do this? I'll send you an email. You have a pre-formatted email that basically just says, hey, I just met with this guy who kicks ass. He drinks whiskey and he talks sales. He's going to help you with your business. You should connect with him and have a conversation like this. It's a really easy way to get a new lead and a real warm lead. Would you guys say that's true? Right? So having those kind of tools, enabling people to refer for you, taking all the guesswork out, realizing people don't just naturally do it and not relying on the universe to provide. Okay. The next one, who's heard of affiliates? Right. And also Olga's business, right, in the multi-level world, in the direct marketing business, it's just affiliates. It's just basically, I like this business so much, I want to refer people, but I also want to get paid, right? I have, Gabe mentioned earlier, I have my Sales Hero Academy program that I run online, and I've just launched an affiliate program. I've got all these people that are having fun learning these things. They already paid. They're continuing to pay other things, and they're like, this is fun. They like it. They're like, I want to promote it. And I was like, well, why don't I do this? If you promote it, I'll give you a little bit of money too. And they go, I was already going to do it, but that's also fun, right? So you can create in your business ways that people get paid, and you can create them in other levels. I mean, I used to be in network marketing as well. It gets a bad rap, but all it is just multi-level affiliate deals where you're like, I really like this thing. You should buy it. I get a piece. And if somebody that you give it to gets a piece too, I get more of a piece. And everybody's getting paid to promote something that they give a shit about, right? And you can set that up in your business. You can set up affiliate deals. If you have an online business, you can set that up. We can talk about, I know you guys, Reese, you guys can talk about that stuff too, right? What about the whole idea of reciprocity, goodwill? Have you guys heard of that one? Right? Just helping people because you like them, right? Just being like, this guy's awesome. Go and talk to them without anything in return. Is that a good sort of partner agreement? That's a good affiliation, right? The other one is doing groups. I was talking to David before he left. A really big one right now is we're talking about this move into more tribal things. I think because, you know, we've been in this space where we have thousands of Facebook friends, you know, hundreds of LinkedIn friends. But if you think about the way we are as tribal creatures, we can only handle about 150 relationships at a time. You guys heard of that stat? Right? We can only properly handle 150 relationships. So what we're doing is creating these smaller groups on Facebook, on LinkedIn, all these different places where we're having real conversations, just like this right now. This is a tribe where we're having a real conversation and now making the most of this kind of a group and then starting to create something out of that. So we're running a number of Facebook groups. And one of the things I remember, I'm trying to think of the guy's name, Josh Turner has this new movement on LinkedIn, really cool system where he says, rather than talking about your business, create a group where you could be like, what kind of, you're in the voiceover business, right? So you could, what geographic range are you in?
Right across. Yeah.
All over the place. And what kind of people you typically deal with as customers?
Advertising agency.
Advertising.
Yeah, creative directors. Marketers.
So Matt could create a group on LinkedIn that's just, you know, creative agency executives consortium, whatever the hell he wants to call it. And he's the founder of this group. And now he goes out and he messages other people that are potential clients of his. And he says, hey, I see you guys are doing, I think it's pretty cool. We just created this consortium or whatever you want to call it, affiliation with this group, this fun partnership where we're just talking about the challenges that creative executives have. I'd love for you to come and check it out because I love what your business is doing. And I'm the founder of this group. You don't say, I'm going to sell you services. You just say, I want you to participate in our tribe and have a conversation. And then through that conversation, they start to do things. You say, hey, I'm the one that invited you. I'd love to have a chat about what your business looks like. And in that chat, they're going to say, well, what do you do? And you say, oh, I do this. And you keep it real loose. You're not selling them anything. But through that relationship, all of a sudden, what do you have? You have a warm lead, right? Leverage the crap out of groups and forums and add value to people's lives. And they're going to want to help you. That power of reciprocity is huge. You guys say that's true, right? And the other one is, like I said, I mean, the webinars, all this kind of stuff. That's why webinars are kicking ass right now. Because people are saying, I'm going to give you free content. I just ran a whole bunch of Facebook ads for my landing page. Spent like $500. Nobody bought. All we got to do is now switch it up and say, why don't we give them some free stuff first? A little bit of free stuff, an hour of a recorded thing where we solve a problem for them. They're like, that was really fun. If that's what I get for free, what does the paid version look like? And that starts to kill. You guys have seen that, right? You go get something for free and you're like, man, that was awesome. Now I'm going to go. So these are all ways that you can build partnerships. And now all of those things that we just talked about, you could do the same thing online. If you have somebody that is in the same kind of business as you are in Wisconsin, connect with them and say, hey, let's do a joint webinar. Let's build a relationship. Let's do a webinar together. And then we can build a product for them. I've got a bunch of partners all over the place that we're just talking about this stuff. Like, what do you want to do? I have my friend Andy Murphy, who runs the Mindset by Design Academy. He's now got something like 2,000 members in there. And he said, hey, can you come and do a masterclass for me on sales? I said, sure. We do a webinar. He records it. He throws it in his paid group. He gets paid more money because I give him good content. And then I give him a discount for my academy. He sends people my way and we're sharing ideas. And now he's saying, now we've done that and people like it. They're not like, you guys are complete morons. They think this is cool. And so we said, well, why don't we create a really cool corporate training program? Right? And now we're mapping out what that training program looks like because we're just trusting each other in the network. Does this all make sense, guys? All right. So I think we got about half an hour. I wanted to sort of wrap up there. I do want to throw out, because everybody's throwing out offers, I'll throw an offer. So if you go to, write this down, salesheroacademy.com and then /special. And right now I have a deal on, there's a promo code on that page. If you type in April 50, I have a 50% off the whole academy until the end of the month. And we've got people just talking about stuff. So what I've been doing there is taking all my corporate training, all these slides that people pay me a whole bunch of money to generate, then I record over them, We take all the tools, we're just dumping them in there, and people are using them and making sales. So that's what we're doing. But what I want you guys to do is now, maybe even at your tables, or you break up into groups, but I want you to think of those ways to partner up and start to talk to people. I want you to have a conversation with people at your table, in your groups. You can maybe you guys go together, you guys in the back get together, so maybe about 4 groups all together. And I want you to have a conversation from the place of, what problems do you solve in your marketplace? What are the problems you solve for your customers? And in your group, start to think about, well, how can we better solve those problems? Does that make sense? Right? And start to come up as a group. We're going to do this for because we're networking and we'll take a break at the same time. So I want you guys to do this for about 15 minutes. And then I'm going to ask you at each table to share with us the idea that you came up with for the problem that you're going to solve in your marketplace. Is that cool? Okay. And then for the rest on the Whiskey Friday stuff on the Blab, that's it for us. We're going to leave. We're going to keep going with our group. And I thank you guys for joining. And everybody here, thank you guys for joining us on Whiskey Friday.
All right, thanks everybody. That is a wrap. Next week we're going to be doing the same thing. It'll be Whiskey Friday. Obviously, we won't be at the All Intramural Conference because that doesn't happen every week, but Whiskey Fridays does. So pick out your best whiskey, and I'll mention to Joe who all came on to the show today. So have a good day and enjoy your Blab.
Hey guys, you know what we did? We just kept it going on Blab. So now I'm talking to you guys on Blab. So we've resumed the recording. What are you guys talking about? What problems are you guys solving in the marketplace? Cool. All right. So we're going to do this for about 15 minutes or so. Then I'm going to get you guys to say, we found an idea of a way that we can solve this problem in the marketplace a little bit better. Let's find it. Oh, baby. That sounds good. This is fun. Okay, homies. We're still on Blab here.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're rocking and rolling. And so you guys are talking about what problems you solve in the marketplace, right? Your businesses.
Yeah.
And we're going to come up with an idea of how to solve that problem better somewhere, right? We're going to share that with everybody. Is that what we're doing? Anything that's popped up so far? Matt Colrick?
Yeah, we're ripping through it. It's getting deep.
Oh, getting deep. I like it deep.
5 minutes. So.
Okay, we're doing it for about another 10 minutes, so we'll get you guys talk about it. Cool. So far, so good. Liza!
Hello.
What's up? There's
Hi.
Liza. This is fun. And you're on at 4, right? Cool.
Oh, there we go.
We're back on Blab. We're up there. We're up on the big screen.
It's great to be here.
Yeah.
Great conversations.
What are you guys talking about? The problems that we're solving in the marketplace?
Looking our way around.
Anything specific that's popped up?
How are you? We're very much anticipating the need.
Okay, cool. So we'll do probably about 10 minutes of this, and then we'll get you guys to talk a little bit about how we're uniquely solving. Hey guys, we're back on Blab. Look at these guys.
Whoa.
Say hi, say hi. Rich, say hi. We're back on Blab. What's up? What's up? So have you identified a problem that you guys are all solving in the marketplace, and maybe how to solve that a little bit better?
Kind of working on the same problem.
Cool. It's me. I know, it's me. Joji's a problem. But look at us over there. Look at all these guys. Huh? Look at you guys up there. But yeah, so that's in about 10 minutes. You guys keep working on it. And I'm going to get everybody to speak for a few minutes on how we can solve these problems a little bit better. Yeah? Cool.
So you really can't.
I know. Look
Hi,
this way.
darling. Oh, I smell whiskey.
Yeah, look at us
Wow.
on the screen. There it is. I'm going to come over to Curtis because we're never in the same thing.
This
Look
is
at
gonna be
this.
like a weird.
This is totally weird.
I'm in like 6 places at one time.
Look
right now.
at me and Curtis.
This is
Cheers, buddy.
the metaphysics of this.
Can we do, hold on. Can we do from my screen to yours? How do we do this? On the screen. So I got to go this way. No, this way. How do I do it so we cheers? I think it's this way. Yeah.
It's like backing up 6 trailers at one time.
Yeah, go like this. Cheers. No, you got to go to the side. Towards your beard. Cheers. Yeah. Cheers, Curtis. Clink.
The other way's the other way.
What's that? It's great. I like this. Look at this. That's great. This is fun.
I love that we're still recording this whole thing. Everybody that watches this afterwards.
Doing our best to provide comfort.
Yep.
Saving energy costs.
Cool. Is there a better way? What can we do to do it better? What do you think?
Better way for us or
For all of
for
us.
our product?
All of us as a network to look at this thing differently.
I like the approach that you had of being in business. Well, I've completed my 40th year in business in a couple of months. But the one thing that I like about the approach that YES and Victoria Homes has is the fact that altruistically we're trying to find out exactly what the customer needs. It's not about going in, making a sale and then running back out again.
Yeah.
It's more about relationships and making sure that we're matching the product that we're giving to them as to what they actually need. And it's one of the, especially in the last 5 years, I would say it's the biggest struggle in trying to promote your own product. Is
Yeah.
making sure that you're doing that.
Okay.
There's a lot of new people into the market, and I don't think a lot of those people are really out to do that.
Yeah. And you said there's a lot of people that are really like just super price picky and just almost like price
They don't
conscious, but
appreciate the
they're not looking for value. They're just trying to find the cheapest thing, but it's not necessarily what's best for the community, and they're doing actually more damage than good, right?
The other thing that we're finding too is that, as you mentioned previously, is the value statement. It's very hard to qualify a customer when they're trying to buy a product off us because, of course, it's a widget. It's a blue widget or a red widget, but it's still a widget in their mind. But we found that more times than not, there can be product bought by a competitor that's worried about capital cost on it, so they get the sale. But over the life of the equipment, the customer's losing over $100,000 in breakdowns and actual energy. So it's that value is it's very hard to promote that without sounding less than honest and less than to them it looks like we're trying to oversell our product.
Yeah, the big promise about the value, and it's just not true yet. There's have you guys seen the Challenger sale book? There's a great, just because you're talking about just like being able to be pushed into this market where you're more of like a transactional purchase, whereas I think you guys are a complex purchase that has a lot more value. And there's a case study in there by a company called W.W. Granger. And so they talked about how they showed, because they were just a company that I think they did like 12 billion in like manufacturing operations and repair. And what they found is that people were doing a lot of unplanned purchases, just like what you're saying. They just, I'm going to buy the cheapest thing, but they weren't taking into account what it actually transaction costs were for their business. So they did a whole insight selling model where they actually build all of their sales around that, and were able to completely reframe the way their customers thought about spending. So it's something that I can talk to you guys about for sure. There's
Well, one of the best examples of that for us was Brentwood College down the road. They allowed us to design both phases, design and build and construct and commission both phases of the energy exchange system. Right. One of my claims to fame is putting loops in the ocean, extracting heat out of the ocean.
Okay.
After they signed the contract and we started handing over some of the secret sauce, one of those, a number of those were the fact that the loop going into the ocean, we saved them just about $400,000. The design saved them, that we optimized with the mechanical engineer, was another $250,000.
Wow.
So when you look at the fact that they're saving about $350,000 a year, plus almost 1,000 tons of CO2 a year, basically the first year they recovered their entire capex for the whole infrastructure that they put in. So now the value statement is we're putting $250,000 in the bank every year.
Yeah.
So it's paid for itself. I've got to be honest with you. In front of a board of governors or board of directors or in front of a customer, trying to get those, it's not tangible. They can't. It's not in front of them at that point.
Yeah.
So they go.
Don't get it.
That's why the references that you mentioned. A lot of times with our rapport that we have with them, is a commercial customer, institutional customer. I'll get permission, it's a closed campus,
Yeah.
there's a lot of, some of the students going there, from all over the world, so we can't just waltz in there, but we go in there, we walk through the whole system, and then Gordy that's thrilled with it, looks after that has optimized the system for probably close to another $100,000 and just fine tuning it. He loves showing it.
Love it. Have you connected much with Alex and Victoria Homes, guys? Yeah, they'd probably be a good connection for.
Well, we are on Victoria Homes.
Oh, okay. So talking about how that
We haven't
networking.
really.
Get involved. You gotta get involved. Gotta get
We
involved.
keep missing them.
Yeah. So that'll be something you guys want to do. Cool. But yeah, you guys want to chat? Chat with them there. Cool. All right, we're gonna go next table. Dazzle us.
Oh.
No, just kidding. It's
Looks,
part
it
of it.
looks like Joel and Didier are involved in a good conversation.
You guys keep talking. Keep talking.
What you get it going?
No, keep talking. Oh yeah, we're going. Yeah, keep talking about what you're talking about.
People live their lives to be 200-300 years old, meaning when they have children, what are they leaving for their children? Some people live their lives to be 600-700 years old, meaning they want to create a business that's going to change a certain perspective in life, that's going to change people's mindsets. But you can't create a business like yours and expect the changes to happen in your lifetime. You understand that this is a battle happening for thousands of years that are coming. You can't have started the electric car back in the 20s and expected that, okay, by the time of the 1980s, there'll be electric cars everywhere. No, you understand, like Nikola Tesla. Tesla understood that. All right, I'm building this ship, but I'm building this ship for 3,000 years. Einstein.
Have you guys figured out a problem that you're going to uniquely solve? I'm going to put you on the spot. All right, Curtis, what do you think? Should we wrap this up and get these guys presented?
Yeah, I think so. I think Liza's ready to rock.
Liza's just about ready. No, where? Okay. All right. Is Phil here kicking around? He's coming back. Is he ducked out? I'm gonna find him. Let's go on a Phil hunt. You guys got like 2 more minutes, and we're gonna. Found him.
You could always interview some of the golfers.
Yeah, that's right. Hey guys. You're on call. All right. Now we're back in. All right. You know what I'm thinking, my man, is if I do this. We do it like, no, not yet. How's that? And we're going to go like this, and I'm going to have people just talk right here about their idea. Sound good? I'll just hold it. I'll hold it. All right, guys. All right, here we go. So we've got about 10 minutes to go here. Olga, come on. Get back. All right, so we got about 10 minutes. Who wants? So the goal of this actual project, we're still live stream. We're back on Blab here. And the goal of this project here was to say, hey, let's talk as a group in our smaller groups, Ben, in our groups about the problems that we're seeing in our marketplace and how we can find more unique ways to solve them. And I'm going to get you guys to go around for a minute or two and talk about maybe one way that you've done it. And I'm going to come to you and you can talk into the microphone because we want to live stream it as well. Hey, what's up? And then you guys are going to talk about it for a second, and then we'll wrap up, and then we're going to put Liza on the stage as well. So who wants to go first? How about Ben's group? Perfect. You've been voluntold. Who wants to go?
That's great. I don't want to go, but I will go.
Who's going to talk?
I love it.
So get up, Ben, this way.
Okay.
Okay, get up this way and face these people, and I'm going to go here. All right.
Okay, guys.
No, talk to them, not me.
Oh, what about this? I like
Not,
it.
no, you're here.
The problem we're trying to solve right now is actually homelessness, how to eradicate homelessness in Victoria, city of Victoria or Nanaimo. And we decided to take all of our assets and all of our skill sets to facilitate a conference that essentially would communicate these issues and become a place or a hub for solutions. Is that roughly what we're looking at problem
Ish.
and a solution,
Ish.
roughly,
You
right?
want to add to it?
We got to add to it. There we go, Mary.
We want to not just take the business people and the wealthy people and come up with solutions for the homeless. We want to take the homeless and hear their heart. What is it that they need? Sometimes we think people need certain things, but actually they need something completely different. We need to hear them. They are our customers. We need to hear their heart. And
Cool.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Pretty close.
So what do you guys have a plan of what we're going to do? Like one step that we can take, how we're going to get together, work together?
We're going to plan an event.
Planning an event.
She's an event planner.
Oh.
I have the destination.
Planning an event.
He's a
We got a
mentor.
destination. We got a mentor, storyteller.
Passionate,
Oh,
a
look at
communicator,
that.
and we got it.
And you got a Ben. And you got a Ben. So they've decided they've got this challenge, guys. They've got this challenge, and they said, you know what? We have all these resources and tools. We've got event planners. We've got a location. We've got coaches. We've got mentors. We've got marketing, communications. Let's pull this together and solve this problem, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just talking about it. Cool. Nice. Congrats, guys. Really cool. Who wants to go next? Angie Barna. Doesn't sound like Angie. Come this way, Angie. Come here, Angie. Angie, come to me. Come to me, Angie. We're gonna do it like this. Oh, this makes sense. I'm gonna go like this.
Okay.
And then you talk to these lovely people here.
So we had a little discussion about the basically on the theme of the All Island Entrepreneurial Summit.
Hmm.
So why in a big island of 1 million people do we have all of these different chambers of commerce, all these different groups, all these different apps, all these different networking groups that are available? Why aren't we all just merged under one big
Yes.
brand? So we decided that we might start an All Island Entrepreneurial Summit. Right? Facebook page. Whoa! Nobody's done it before.
That sounds
I know.
great.
It's just an extension of what you're already doing.
Yeah.
And start it with a big story in the Business Examiner.
Love
Kick
it.
it off.
So keep
So
this
it becomes,
going.
and so it's the entrepreneurial thread as opposed to the business, big business. It's really that micro business entrepreneurial focus. Yeah. Punch it out.
I love it. So how cool is that? That sounds awesome, right? Yeah. So I think the word that you use is a thread rather than an event. Let's make it a thread. Let's make it an ongoing conversation. Yeah. Who else wants to go? Oh, yes. Gina's shaking her head. Yes. Matt. Yeah. Matt wants to go. Come here, Matt. Come to me, Matt. Come to me, my pretty. I'm trying to look at myself on camera. Then we're gonna go in the dark. You gotta actually look this way because the lighting's better. Talk to the window.
Oh, okay. Talk to the window.
Tell everybody, and you guys look at the screen because this is good lighting.
Okay,
And
so
just go down a little bit. There we go.
get down here.
That's better.
There we go.
I'm gonna go up.
So we all
That's
kind
better.
of went individually and talked about our own businesses, but in doing so, I think we kind of hit on a common thread that we all need, which is the ability to kind of see from a different perspective. So that partnerships and getting together and sharing where we're at can kind of remove the negativity bias by letting other people look and saying, this is what you're doing, this is what's going well, maybe this is what you're good at, and then trying different things to just make what's familiar different so that you can get that new perspective.
Who's taking action on it?
I don't know.
Cool.
I'm going to have to take action on it.
So you guys take action. Alex, you have anything you want to add here? No? Cool. Tell us about that. What did you guys discuss?
We were discussing a similar industry, so we both share the issues with having a consumer that you want to market to through technology and app. And I guess we realized that we don't have it figured out, but what we did come up with is, and this is more from your point, was talking about how you can balance the two, incorporate maybe a few different types of advertising objects to go along with it, with print and wrapping things where you're going to hold the print and then be able to promote the app. And so trying to use a few different advertising mediums to really elevate it. So
cool. So you think mainly like getting people together saying, okay, there's a lot of advertising that's going on. Let's combine forces. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, and they have the mediums.
And we've got people in this room that are doing advertising, they're doing media, they're doing all sorts of stuff. Work with them and say, hey, how can we do this together? Rather than them coming to sell you advertising, let's talk about these problems we're solving and do group buying. I mean, that's Victoria Homes has a brilliant business model where it's a lot of group work, group buying, scale of economy, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to wrap up because Liza's going to come on stage in 2 minutes. I'm going to introduce her. I do want to say that the biggest thing I had in my notes is really what will you take action on? Because this is all talk unless you take action. You guys agree to that? Right? And so one of the things I would say what you want to take away from this, the All Island Economic Summit, is find one person, one group, one business that you say, you know what? We have the same values. We're doing similar things. Let's sit down and really look at this. Whether we move this thing forward, let's take action and set up a meeting where we say, hey, could we work together? Let's do something even small to just dip our toes in the water to try something new. Will you guys all agree to take action on just one thing? All right, cool. Now I want to bring to the stage, actually, no, I'm going to get Matt to bring to the stage with your wonderful, sexy voice. And we're going to log off of Blab, right? We're good with that. Do you guys like the Blab thing? Was that cool? All right, cool. So I'm going to log off of that, and I'm going to get Matt to use his voice. Yes, ma'am?